Well, we have made it to the end. It's been a fun 12 weeks, but I'm glad this train wreck is over. I really just need some time to recover. So we'll start with Monday's episode, but I'm going to just kind of graze over this a little bit. Because anybody that watched knows that that night was the most insignificant of everything compared to everything else that we saw. But it does have some important foundations that we need to address. So we start off with a rose ceremony where obviously Peter gets sent home. I really thought Tyler was going home, but instead she sends home the guy that she bangs in a windmill. Not exactly sure what that says about his performance.
Well, guess what, Joe? Your sex was whack.
No, just kidding. I love you, Peter. No pun intended. Without going over all the little details, that was a very difficult breakup to watch. I felt so bad for him. He ends up just sobbing in her arms, and I wanted to sob with him. Mostly because I felt really bad for him, but also because I'd be stuck with another whole episode of Jed. There was also, and I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed this, but there was a split second where Peter was driving away in the car, and the car stopped, and he looked up, and I thought that he thought maybe Hannah was coming back for him. He had just a little bit of hope. I might have made that up in my head, but I could just see it on his face. And then it quickly died. But that ends and we cut right to the hot seat. And Peter mentions how Hannah is the best person he's ever met, but then adds in, so far in my life. And those were very important words because that sets him up to be the Bachelor. Still curious about his ex-girlfriend though. They go through their typical I'm heartbroken talks and then Hannah comes out. This is where it got really weird. Oh, but wait. I also just need to mention our regular programming was interrupted twice by WTEN Storm Tracker. So I missed some things. I don't know if they were significant, but if I leave out an important part, that's probably why. So Peter and Hannah start talking. They're talking about maybe the most significant part of their relationship on the show, their activities in the windmill, and they keep showing clips of his family, and his family is elated that their son used the Bachelorette to sharpen his pencil 4 times in a windmill. I mean, they were ecstatic. And this was the exact moment where I knew Hannah did not have a fiance, because if she did, she would not come out and add an extra 2 on top of the already there 2. Because, how would her fiance feel? And we know the fiance is not Peter. She just revealed the information with so much ease. And then she's flirting with him. She's wicked giggly and putting her hand on his leg. It was slightly uncomfortable. That about sums up Peter. Then we get to Crete and the guys meet the family. Tyler's meeting goes extremely well. Her family loves him, even after telling them that he flunked school and consequently became a dancer because of it. And Hannah tells everyone that she was surprised when she realized she was falling in love with Tyler. Why were you surprised? Have you just now been exposed to his face? Then we get to Jed's meeting with the family, and Hannah says he's the person that best fits her life. And I can't figure that out. I also don't know what Hannah does for a living. I don't know why I never thought about this before, but what does she do? I know she was Miss Alabama, but what else? Now, I don't have a lot of great things to say about Jed, but he did manage to lift Hannah up with one arm. So that is one accolade I'm willing to give him. One of the most frustrating parts of this whole family meeting is when Jed is talking to her parents about how he felt when he first walked out of the limo and saw Hannah. Don't pretend that you were thinking about her. You were like, these are the first 10 steps to my becoming a famous musician. Then we find out about the dog food jingle, and Hannah's dad was clearly just unimpressed, and so was everyone else. I initially wanted to make fun of this as well, but then I started to feel bad about it because I know how great it feels to accomplish something that's a step in the right direction for your career, no matter how silly or small or whatever. That was probably really awesome for him. I just feel bad. Something that he's proud of, and I get why. But her parents clearly don't feel like he can provide for Hannah financially, which, it really is a toss-up. He can either go on to make millions of dollars or kind of just be stuck at the local bar. But I get both sides. He's got a passion for something. He wants to pursue this passion. And then there's also the side of, well, I need you to take care of my daughter. They even let her know that he has qualities. And that's a sure way to let your daughter know that you don't approve. But her father also said that it's Jed's personality to beat around the bush. Well, we sure found that out quick now, didn't we? We'll talk about that later. But just one more thing. Go Hannah for stepping up and saying that you will also provide for the family. I thought that was really cool, very strong and empowering, but also that was the point where I knew she was going to pick him because she's got a whole boatload of reasons not to pick Jed now. I mean, her family doesn't even like him, and she is still just defending it all hard. His family doesn't want you to be with him. Your family doesn't want you to be with him, and she's just not giving up. Props to Jed, though, for stomaching through that whole day because that was just a gauntlet. And if I didn't want to smack him across the face the whole time, that little moment where he's talking to Hannah and saying, like, you know, forget everything, I believe in us, it would have been cute. Then they have their dates, and these were like, it's not very cool. Tyler has another horseback riding venture, and then they have like a nice hot steamy makeout, and then Jed pretty much just has uncomfortable conversation the whole time. But one other thing to note. Jed says that Hannah's father's opinion doesn't affect his feelings for her. Yet, Hannah keeping Luke around does. Seems a little fickle there, doesn't it, Jed? And right there was red flag number 59. But then the dates end and she's got to pick someone the next day. She has like no time to decompress. And then the episode ends and Chris leaves us with like the ultimate spoilers. Will she get the ending she's been hoping for? Or will it end in tears? I wonder where that's going. And then we get to night 2. First of all, how many times are they going to show us the clip of her eating the pavement? But before that, Chris lets us know that we're about to witness an ending that nobody saw coming. Not Hannah. Not even me. Who are you, Chris? Aren't you just the mentor? Or are you actually God? But the guys pick out their rings, and it's time for a proposal, and Hannah's acting conflicted again. And I'm just waiting for her to be like, well, once I go out there and see them, then I'll know what decision I want to make. Just like she's done the past 3 or 4 weeks. But she doesn't. She just falls to the pavement and laughs about how bad it hurt. It was a very Hannah moment. And another sure giveaway that she was picking Jed was the moment that she said, the guy she's sending home is not going to expect it. Jed would expect it. I mean, his meeting with the family was garbage. And then Tyler's the first to step out of the limo, and we all know what that means. He gets there, he's giving his whole just clearly rehearsed speech, and Hannah finally cuts him off, and I'm like, thank God. Because most of the time in this show, they just let him keep rambling on until they finish. Almost get down on a knee. But Hannah took him out of his misery a little bit sooner. So happy about that. And our misery as well. She couldn't even look him in the eye the whole time. She couldn't look at him at all while he was talking to her. She was like side to side. I wonder, like maybe his nerves took over, but did he like realize that she was not into what he was saying? Oh, it was making me so uncomfortable. But ultimately she tells him she loves somebody else. And he is obviously upset. But the minute he tells her that he is on her side, rooting for her and Jed, that's it. He secured the Bachelorette for me. He's in. Then Jed comes out for his turn. And what is he carrying? You guessed it. A guitar. I mean, you might as well make your purpose for coming on this show extra purposeful, especially for the finale. He starts singing her a song, and I get really uncomfortable when people sing in front of me, like one-on-one. I don't know why. But he does the song, and it would probably be cute if he wasn't such a skis. And then Hannah goes on to tell him how she wonders why all her life God has put her through such difficult times and challenges and heartbreaks. And little does she know at that point, she's about to get another whole wave of that crap. They get engaged, they go through all the cutesy stuff, the final rose, whatever, and the whole time I'm sitting here like this. He was Mr. Right Boy. And then here we are after the final rose. They jump into these post-proposal interviews with Hannah, finding out that Jed had a girlfriend before he came on the show. And I never saw that note. Like, I had read some articles, but the note that he had left for her before he left, that is crazy. That is like mega proof. I mean, aside from everything we find out later. But I just gotta say, I called it. As soon as I knew that he was coming onto this show for his career, that was it for Jed. But anyway, during this whole conversation that he's having with Hannah, he is stuttering, stammering, just clearly lying about things. And also trying to like cover up his steps. He claims they were not serious. She was not his girlfriend. Yet his parents stopped by at their little overnight getaway. Stop by because they're in the area. They happen to take a birthday vacation together. I mean, this is like the perfect storm, all these coincidences. He tells her he loves her.
Are you seeing the same pattern I'm seeing?
You two were not on different pages, you little player. And what is 444? Because that seemed really important. But Hannah handled it like such a champ. She was intelligent, level-headed. She didn't allow herself to get consumed by her feelings. Like, she could have just exploded. But she sat there. She listened to him. She reacted, obviously. But, like, I expected much more of a freak out. And she did a really good job. Oh, and he had girls at his apartment after he was already engaged and didn't tell her about it. This is relationship 101. The minute those girls come into your apartment, you text Hannah and you say, there's some weird girls I don't know here. Simple. All this silliness reminded me of like a college frat boy. Like, that is what Jed has been. And if you can fall in love with someone while you're still in a relationship with somebody else that you love, that's a problem. You could do the same thing to Hannah. I mean, maybe, just maybe, the things that he's telling her are true. But if that's the case, come out and tell her everything just right from the start. He lied, and then he lied again. And then finally we get some little tidbit breadcrumbs of the truth. But good things come to those with pure intentions. And we didn't have those, did we, Jed? Then comes time for her live interview, and she is looking smoking. Best outfit yet. But we find out Jed actually lied to her again because, I mean, he gives her the warning like, hey, people might be talking about this girl if any rumors come out, but I broke it off with her a week before. At some point, buddy, you just gotta let it all out there. And unfortunately, your timing, a little too late. And I was thinking, maybe she had so much trouble making decisions on who to keep because God was like,
Hannah, don't choose Jed.
but she just really wanted to. Then she reveals to the world that they are not together, dumped him, the end of Jed. Remember last video when I said, I think it was last video, that Jed could have potentially sabotaged Hannah's entire season? Well, look at that. He did. And then Jed comes out. Again, this is just such karma for not having pure intentions. You're here to just skyrocket your career, and what actually happened to your career? That's right. I do want to say, however, that I feel like his apology was pretty sincere. Granted, he doesn't have much choice now but to apologize, but he looked just extremely remorseful the whole time and just crushed and like beaten down. I felt for him and for her, obviously. It was like destruction of both of them. It was his fault, but kind of the weird thing is this whole season we were so focused on Luke that every other relationship she had, I didn't feel any connection to. Like, she breaks up with Jed and I don't feel awful because I'm like, oh, you guys were together? I never had time to get connected with any of her relationships. Does that make sense? I don't know. But that's it. Their relationship ends and they have some pretty cordial goodbyes, which helped ease the blow a little bit because I felt bad. It's never good to watch that stuff. She's right. You're not supposed to clap, and whoever was clapping in the audience must have been real embarrassed. So then it's time for Tyler to come out. But before he comes out, Chris just mentions his name and Hannah cries and says she's been grieving that relationship. You're grieving that relationship because it could have worked out, but you chose somebody else. It's the way of life, not just the way of The Bachelor. Okay, sometimes people date two people, or they have an opportunity to start dating somebody, but then that person starts dating somebody else, and then that's it. Sorry. And you are not about to make Tyler a rebound right now, Hannah. But what happens? Yeah. Tyler comes out, sits down, says a whole lot of nice things about Hannah, how he respects her. Great guy, obviously. I didn't have any trouble seeing it, but she decides to ask him out on a date. And the audience is all for this. And I am not. Why, you ask? 1, like I said, Tyler is not going to be a rebound. 2, he deserves a girl who's going to make him her first choice. 3, I want him to be the Bachelor. And 4, don't try to tell me that these past few weeks, Hannah has grown as a woman and managed to realize that Tyler is a better fit for her. No, you made the wrong choice. You chose Jed. Yes, Jed screws you over. But you don't get to break up with Jed because he F's up and then go running back to your second choice. Second choice should have been your first choice. If you never even found out about this Jed stuff, you'd still be with him. I didn't like it. And I ended that whole night feeling like total monkey butt, just to match the rest of the season. But I do want Hannah to be happy. I do really want Tyler to be happy. Just don't want them to be together. But it's not my choice. Should be. Okay, so anyway, that sums up the whole season. I really can't believe it's over. I know some of you asked me to do Bachelor in Paradise recaps, and I'm really sorry, but I don't think I'm going to. I let these Bachelorette recaps kind of like consume my life. Really? And I think I need to just take some time to kind of get my focus back on my other videos, my creative ones, because I've neglected those quite a bit. So I'll work on those, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick this back up in January for The Bachelor, because it really was a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much for sticking with me all season. I had the best time talking with all of you and sharing our opinions. So let me know your final thoughts down in the comments. Thanks again, you guys, so much, and I will see you in the next video.